everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Tlogelo Promise Rampa and this is Relocate to Australia with Promise. It is your number one DIY relocation platform, okay? So if you need information about relocating to Australia and you don't have the money to be paying for an agent, this is the place to be, okay? To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. And my new subscribers, thank you. I see you. Yo, guys, it's been 2 years that we've been in Australia. I cannot believe it. And we've not even been home. Okay, well, let's just blame COVID. But no, we've been here for 2 years. My husband and I were reflecting back and we're like, hey, dude, it's been 2 years. We left home on the 18th of January and then we arrived in Australia on the 20th. I've explained this in my previous video. We first flew to Dubai and then Singapore and then we came here. But well, we could have taken like a direct flight, but there was an option to go to these two countries. We were like, oh, why not? We've never been outside of Africa. It was an opportunity to see some things that people have been seeing because they can afford it. But now we want to go back. I was telling my husband, no, our first trip outside of Australia must be Singapore. And then the second one will be then Dubai. And then the third one will be something else, not South Africa. I'm joking. I'll come home. Just not now. Just wait a minute. Anyway, today I am going to be talking about very serious and important things. We are going back to the visa conversation, the visa talk. So what I want to do, guys, let me just explain to you what's going to be going on. I want to have full-blown conversations about visa options here in Australia so that we can get to a space where we get people to get visas, get jobs, get sponsorships. And then when you come here, you know, okay, fine, I'll be coming to Promise's channel because she'll be talking about rent. She'll be talking about how to buy a car. She'll be talking about how to settle. You know, all those kind of things like opening a bank, bank account, things like driver's licenses, you know, all those kind of things. So I'm going to be giving you all the information that you'll be needing and things that I wish I knew before relocating here to Australia. But that's just things that are coming later. Today, what we're going to be focusing on is the 15 things that you need to know about immigrating or migrating to Australia. I had to narrow it down to 15 because there were so many. But I was like, okay, you know what, Promise? Focus, girl, focus. So let's start with number one. So number one, obviously, as you already know, and this is the basis of my channel, you do not need an agent to migrate. And I know it makes me so angry because I get so many people messaging me like on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, telling me that they had agents say to them, you cannot migrate if you don't use an agent. It's a lie. It's a lie. They just want to get money from you. And I'm telling you, there is no university of relocation agents in this world that I have heard of. If there is, please do let me know, because a lot of people will say to you, no, I'm a certified migration agent. Yes, I can go get that number tomorrow and be a migration agent tomorrow. So do not believe it. Do not believe people who tell you that, no, because you've not used an agent, then this is going to decrease your chances of you going to... They don't even have connections here. Australia does not work on connections. No one has connections to the immigration offices and the department. Nobody. These people are just people who either migrated here and they saw an opportunity because there's so much money to make with being an agent, and they're just trying to disempower you and make you feel like you can't do this on your own. You can. And as I've mentioned in my previous videos, if you have not watched them, I do recommend that you do go watch them. You can do this yourself. So the number one myth that any agent will ever tell you is that you won't be able to migrate without an agent. I am here today in Australia, me and my husband and my children, without an agent. There are so many people that have come to Australia without an agent, okay? So do not feel disempowered. But again, the other thing that I will tell you, if you feel like your situation is so tricky and you do need maybe expert in whatever, but the one thing I want to tell you, all the information that they've got is information that is online. So, but if you need somebody else's opinion, they're still going to make you pay for it, but you can go and still consult them and you'll come back when they tell you the prices. But for those who do not afford but do need to relocate, you don't need an agent. Do not feel like somebody's got your life in their hands just because they're an agent and they want money from you. Hey, you can do this. The second thing you need to know about migrating to Australia, you need to meet the requirements of a certain visa. okay? And even if it is not just one, because we applied for 2 visas simultaneously. I always talk about this. We came on a TSS. We'll go into it when we go into it. And then we also applied simultaneously for the permanent residency because we qualified for both of them. I'll go into it in the coming weeks. I'm talking about the pros and cons of the visas that we had before we then explore other visa options. But you need to meet the requirements. So basically, relocating to Australia is simple. The only thing you just need to do is just tick the box. Honestly speaking, migrating to Australia is very easy. When Australia tells you, go fetch this document, go fetch it. Like, don't gabaza around busy, yapping, complaining, stressed, you fetch it when they say to you, okay, you need this kind of document, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need this. And if you don't have it, find a way to navigate around it. Always have a solution. Be on solution mode every day. But make sure that that box is ticked. And one thing that I will tell you, they've got so many visas. So just, if you can, explore as many as you can. That's what I did. I spent so many hours exploring so many of the visas, researching, reading about, okay, which state is the best one to migrate as a South African, because I'm from South Africa. I had to spend so many hours going into almost each and every one of them just so I can see what the requirements were and how I could fit myself into the requirements that they had. So they have very different requirements because of many different reasons. I am pretty sure you can fit yourself into at least one, even if it's just one. That's why I'm saying be on solution mode all the time. And research, guys, as I've always been saying, research. It will help you so much. And do not give up. Even if the door is slammed in your face, go knock on another one. Don't give up, okay? The other thing, which is number 3, I know sometimes people think that, and I've been getting a lot of these messages where people are asking me, Promise, do I need to come to Australia as a permanent resident? You don't have to. You don't have to come here as a permanent resident. One thing that I will tell you though, as South Africans, it is easier for us to come in as permanent residents than other African countries. For them it is much more difficult, but for us it is much more easier. I don't even know why, but we will go into it when we go into it. But I discovered that as a South African, it is easier for us to get a permanent residency than other African countries. I don't know, maybe if it has something to do with like the agreements that the countries have. When you look at, what do you call it, international relations, something like that. Or it is more on because of their education. I don't know. I don't understand. But one thing that I know is that with us as South Africans, even when coming to skills assessments, it's much more easier for our qualifications to then get positive outcomes. But with other people from other countries, like your Zimbabwean Nigerians, we might have the same qualifications. Like I might be a social worker and you get a social worker from Kenya or something like that. They might have to write board exams and I wouldn't have to write it. I'll just go straight in. Don't know why, I don't understand, but this is what I will tell you. Even if they tell you to go write the board exam, write it. Actually, you want to come here. So why are you complaining? Write it. And you come here and you enjoy. Oh. So whatever in which they require from you, do it. So yes, you don't need to come here as a permanent resident. We didn't come here as permanent residents. We came on a sponsored visa, TSS, after my husband had gotten a job, and then we flew here. We were like, the first visa that we get, we are out. So lucky enough, then the TSS was the one that came first. Other people come here using other visas, so it is okay to come to Australia with a pathway visa. So a pathway visa is kind of like a visa that allows you then to work towards getting a permanent residency visa if you do not then qualify for it immediately. There are various reasons why you might not be able to qualify for a permanent residency visa immediately, but you can always work your way up there. And we'll go into it when we go into the permanent residency visa episode. Yes. The other thing that I've discovered, and I wish I knew this before, like 3 years ago, before I was huzuled by South Africa being unemployed. I wish I knew this. And this is something that I also want to share to my fellow Africans and fellow South Africans, that you can come here as a student. And when you come here as a student, like for example, let's put it like this. you've got a social work degree, but you are unemployed. Just like me, I was unemployed for 3 years. So I could have came here as a student, not for social work, maybe like did like a course nyana, a certificate nyana, like something J, as a social worker, like maybe like a what do you call it, a postgraduate certificate in social work, which maybe was like about, sometimes it takes about a year or two, so that it gives me way to come in here. So then I then complete that that degree or that course. At least then I will also have kind of like international paperwork, so I can also work my way into then getting employment then as a social worker. This is what I'm thinking in my head, what I could have done. This is when I was like reflecting back. I'm like, if I knew this information, I would have been long gone. But what I'm thinking is I could have done my skills assessment, right? And then it comes out positive. After it comes out positive, I apply for what do you call this thing, a postgraduate certificate. When I come here, I start then looking for a job, right? I will be having working rights as a student. Then I will apply for a social work job that kind of gives me like part-time hours. It's going to fit into my studies, but also then give me work experience. You see? And then later on, when my visa is about to expire, I then say, okay, fine, let me apply for another pathway visa that's going to give me more stay in my visa, not just only as a student but also as an employee. So there are so many avenues and so many channels where if I knew I would have done it. So for people who are back home and they're unemployed, my advice would be to you guys, try and get yourself into a position where you can be a student here. There's so many scholarships that they're giving out for international students here. There's so many other people who also have YouTube channels as students who advise other students from like international students on how they can then get sponsorships here, how they can get into the correct course and all of that. But we'll be going into it because I still need to research on it. But it's just something that I'm like, yes, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I would have done this even as an unemployed graduate, because I know a lot of people back home in South Africa, they're unemployed graduates right now and they can't do anything. They can't get any work experience. And the whole world is like, yeah, we need work experience. Like, yeah, where am I going to get that work experience? Because I'm telling you, there are no jobs. But anyway, it's fine. So this is another thing that you can do. You can come here first as a student, even if it's just a 6 months or 1 year or 2 year course nyana after postgraduate, and then it's going to lead you into you then getting into something else, like it's going to lead you into a visa that's going to give you more stay, and then it's going to eventually lead you into a permanent residency visa. That's what a lot of people have done here, especially people from Zimbabwe, Nigeria. That's what they've done, because sometimes even with them, their qualifications don't allow them to come here and immediately work. So they start as students and then they grow into it until really they are permanent residents and they are good. And I'm like, you knew this and you did not tell us. Guys. I'm joking. The person that helped me, they're from Zimbabwe, but they were in South Africa. They helped me with this information, bruh. So that's why I'm here giving it to you guys. So you can start as a student and then work your way up. We'll go into it in another platform and episodes and all of that, because I still need to research on it. But just a hint, if you are interested in knowing about it, there's so many people here on YouTube who do talk about it. I'm not too sure if I will be able to mention them, because people are sometimes touchy about their things. But just you search it, you'll find it. If you look for it, you will find it. Okay, so that is number 4. The other thing about migrating to Australia, especially if you're going to be applying for a permanent residency visa, you do need to prove that you have money. So it does not mean hard cash. You don't need to take out. We'll talk about it when we go into the discussion about permanent residency and their requirements. But you don't need to show them your bank statement and say, yeah, I've got 100,000 saved in my account. Sometimes it can be you saying, okay, I own this house, I've got this car, I've got this I can sell. I think I once read somewhere where people from India, they were proving in some type of way that they had gold. I don't know how, but yes, you can prove in any way that you've got some sort of money that can help you when you come here. The reason why they want to know if you do have money is because they don't want then you to be a burden when you come here. Because when you're a permanent resident, you have so many benefits, as you're almost like a citizen, but the only thing you can't do is vote. Yeah. So they just want to make sure that, okay, fine, where now you will not be a burden to this country, because you're going to be coming here broke as, and you don't even have anything. Now they have to be supplying Centrelink money to you. No, they don't want that. So they want to be sure and to know that, okay, fine, when you're a permanent resident, you will be able to get a job, number one. Number two, you will be able to sustain yourself and your living, because expenses here, we'll go into it, but expenses here are so high. So they want to make sure that even when you convert your rents to the dollar, you don't get knocked over too quick. Because they want you to prove it in dollars, so you have to convert it, the man, to say, okay, so in South African rents it can be like about 500,000, and then in Australian dollars it's like $50,000, and they want you to prove that you actually have that money. I don't know how much it is right now, but it is a lot of money. But when you talk about permanent residency visas and how you can then qualify for them, apply for them, and how you can prove that you've got that money, we will go into it. Number 6, you don't need to come here after you found a job, okay? There are certain visas where, okay, fine, you need to find a job first. Like, for example, the TSS one that I told you about. Your employee is actually the one that applies for you, supply the documents and everything to them. So for that one, yes, you need to have found a job first, but that is for that visa or those kind of visas where you first need to show your proof of employment. Otherwise, for other visas, you don't need to have found a job first before coming here. Like, for example, with the permanent residency, you can literally leave your country at any point in time and start marketing when you come here. Start looking for a job when you come here. I would, though, advise people to come here once they've secured a job, if they can, because right now, anyway, we do things online. So you can start applying for jobs online, do your interviews online. It will be so great, especially if you then have, like, let's say, for example, your permanent residency or a visa that allows you to then have working rights. When you apply for a job, you mention to them, yes, I do have working rights. I'm not yet in Australia. However, I want to make sure that by the time I come there, I am secure and I'm okay and I'm well with a job, and I will live closer to me starting at your company or whatever, right? Because then this is going to help you with you not then stressing too much and being stressed that, okay, I've got a permanent residency or I've got a visa that has working rights and that allows me to work in Australia, but I have to use the money that I have to sustain myself until I get a job. That's going to be more stressful for you. Though some people have done it and they've risked and it has worked out for them. However, for me, I just feel like it would be very important for you to get yourself in a position where you can get a job first. Then you'd be able to then, transition easy. It's going to be much more easier for you. It's going to be a much more smoother transition for you. But if you just dive in, sometimes diving in does not pan out as you would want it to, but it is really upon you and what you have decided. There are some jobs, though, I guess it would be very important for you to then come here to then start looking for a job, but you need to look at your circumstances and what you're dealing with and what you're working with. So when you look at your table, as I always talk about the table, when you look at your table, you look at what you're being served and you're like, okay, fine, now I do have working rights. I do have enough money to sustain me for at least 3 months. When you're looking at, because now we're going to be talking about the renty, the foodie and all of that. So after you have calculated, after Promise has told you what to go and decide, then you can then decide, okay, fine. Then I think I can afford then the food, the rent and whatever for 3 months. Worst case scenario, should I not get a job immediately when I get there? But you look at what you're being served on the table, what you can work with. If you've got a family, it's going to be very dangerous because you don't want to bring your family here and you all are stressed and now mom and dad are fighting because we did not think this thing through. You need to be together in this when you're planning it, and you need to make sure that you are one team and everything that you say, you stick with it together and you are accountable for it together when you get here, because it's going to, this country will test your relationship. So make sure that you know what you want and you know what you're working towards and you know what you're working with, because it would be very important for you to come once you found a job, because as I explained, it will be much more easier, but you don't have to come once you found a job. You can come as long as you've got working rights and a visa that's approved and ready to go, then you can come and then you look for a job beside. It's really dependent on you and your own situation, okay? Number 7, there are a lot of sponsorship jobs. A lot, guys. There are a lot. It's just that there's so many websites and so many. The two main in Australia, depending on your profession. I know for general occupations, it's like your seek.com and Indeed. But with my husband, I think it's some websites like Kookaburra, Vets, and yada yada yada. So it's very different. For me, what I would advise you to do: spend time looking for jobs. Look for jobs. Look for them. They are there. Sponsorship jobs are there. And sometimes it is worthy of you sending an email to a certain company that you see a job post on and say, hey, how you doing? Are you sponsoring people? Okay, we are not sponsoring them. Okay. Because sometimes they don't even put on their description that they are sponsoring people. And then sometimes you ask them and they're like, yeah, no, we can actually consider that. Because again, there is another process that goes into a company being able to then sponsor immigrants. So sometimes even you just sending that email might spark that conversation with them within the company to say, look, we're getting attention from people from outside this country, so why don't we open ourselves up to that? And then Lana, you have then now opened pathways for other people to then get jobs, because now they will be sponsorship eligible, so they can now take more of our brothers and sisters, okay? And they can now come here and get jobs because you then emailed them. So even if you do see a job post and they have not put there that they are sponsoring, it would be worthy of an email to say, hey, this is my situation, this is where I'm at, do you sponsor? Because you just never know the response. As I've told you even in my previous videos, my grandmother always used to tell me, even if the shoe does not fit you, you wear it, okay? So even in this situation, when they're like, you don't see anything about sponsorship here, you ask that question. If then there is, do apply for the job. My advice, apply for each and everything. Apply. So number 8, guys, there are so many job opportunities here in Australia. And I know some Australians might be like, oh, but then we also have unemployment rates here. The reason why I'm saying there's so many job opportunities here is because they're in a situation like this. They do have like so many jobs that need skilled people, qualified people, and then they don't have enough people to fill those roles. That's why then they've got then the skills, what do you call it? The skills list on immigration for people outside who have then the knowledge and the skill set to come in and fill in those roles. So for people who are then immigrants, who have then the qualifications and experiences and all of that, then we are able to then fill those roles. So for us as immigrants, it's actually good news, because then we can chip and chop jobs. I remember when I was in my first job, and there was this one female colleague of mine. She was like in her I won't say 50s, maybe late 40s. And we were having a conversation one day and she's like, oh, Promise, I've not been in a job more than 2 years. I'm like, you have not been in a job more than 2 years? When did you start working? And then she told me, I was like, wait, how many jobs have you been through? With us in South Africa, you get stuck in one job your whole life, because should you leave that job, there's no other job for you to go to. So here, people literally leave jobs any day and they can get into another job tomorrow. And you're like, hey, for as long as you've got the skills, you've got the experience, and you've got the qualifications, you can navigate so many avenues. So that's why it's very important for me to let you guys know that as long as you can just get working rights here in this country, you are set for life. You are good. Okay, so come. So number 9, sometimes it would be, and I know you want to come to Australia, I know, but sometimes it would be so advisable for you to start somewhere else. There's some people that have gone to like your UK. There was someone in my comment section that was talking about other Caribbean countries where people could go to prior to like coming to Australia or something like that. I was like, okay, it really depends on people what they want to do. I have set a goal that I am going to Australia. Okay, Australia was a destination. So when I was talking to my ancestors and my God, I was like, look, the Australia is a destination. Okay, this is where we want to go. But if your people, the ones that you talk to, tell you, okay, no, Australia, not now, Sissy. So let's start here, and then we will get you there. Because the reason why I'm saying this now, sometimes it will be much more easier for you to go into another country. Like I know people that find it much more easier, like let's say for example as a social worker, being able to go to the UK, because they're much more quicker in their processing, and I think they need a lot of people. Anyway, UK is cold. So if you do want a challenge, or and you can maybe sacrifice a year or two, you could go to the UK, and then at least you'll now be having that international work experience. It's going to then help you with your visa coming to Australia. So sometimes you might have to go around the world before you come here. If this is going to increase your chances, or you are so desperate in J, you just want to leave South Africa quick, there are other options. Australia is not the only destination, okay? But you have to come here. Australia is the place to be. But you can always start somewhere else where the visa will be much more easier. It will be much more quicker for you to get into that country, because migrating to Australia is rough. They want so much paperwork. It takes you get tested. That's why I said you're going to need mental strength. You're going to need mental strength, especially if you're not doing this with an agent, that person who's going to be pushing you to say, hey, now it's time for this document or whatever. I don't know what they do, but you are going to have to get yourself into a space where you talk to yourself and you say, hey, get up. You need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is so daunting. It is so long, but it is definitely worth it at the end of the day. The other thing that people always worry about, they always wonder, would I be able to migrate with my family? Yes, you are able to migrate with your family, especially if it is your husband, wife, and your children. Australia always has those options for families. And as I said in my previous videos, if you do get a sponsorship, if you do get a sponsored job, try and make sure that you come with your family here, because you would leave them behind and you come here and you're lonely and now you miss them. It might be much more difficult than to get them here and get visas for them here once then you have applied for your visa and it has been granted to you, and now you want to add these people in. They're like, you have to apply now for a partner visa or a family visa or something else, which sometimes has so long waiting periods. So yes, don't risk it. If you have a family, wife, children, yada yada yada, or a partner, there are some people who have partners and they're not yet married. As long as you can prove that you guys live together, you share bills, and you are really partners, then they do consider you as then partners, and then you can relocate together. In the instance of family, so you can relocate with like your dependents, like maybe your sister and your parents. Sometimes I know there is like a parent visa that people do apply for, and a family visa. And family visas that are available, like for you to bring like your siblings and your family, for as long as you can prove that yes, they need to be here because of whatever reason. Now you have to just go into it and read the requirements. However, the waiting periods for them are so long. They even tell you on the website that you don't even have, because sometimes they've got processing times for, like, let's say for example for a TSS it could be like 3 months, 5 weeks or whatever. For permanent residency it could be 6 to 12 months. At least there's like a time frame in with those kind of visas, where now you will already be here in Australia and you want to bring like a family member or something like that. They even tell you, we don't know when we will respond. We might even respond after 10 years. You don't know. So that's why it becomes very difficult. But for me, I feel like, hey, there's a will, there's a way. When God leads the way, it is what it is. So if this is what God has then said, okay, fine, your parents are going to come here, or your siblings or whatever, your uncle, your auntie, whatever, are going to be coming here, then with this visa, I'm telling you, it will happen. Because yes, if there's an option for that visa, it means people have been coming here with that visa. So try your chances. You never know. Oh, this is one thing I wish I knew before I came to Australia. We were under the impression that we needed to have an international driver's permit or something like that. We went to Pretoria to do it. I don't even remember how much it cost, but we did not need it. As South Africans, our driver's licenses are accepted here. So immediately when you come here, you can then convert your South African driver's license to the Australian driver's license. We did ours in New South Wales. I'm not sure about other states, but we did not have to do like your driving schools and all of that. But I think there were certain requirements to it as well. I think if your driver's license was more than 2 years old or a year old, there were other, I don't even remember that much because it was 2 years ago. But you can then come here with your South African driver's license, and then it will be immediately converted. I know for some people from other countries, they have to then have those international driver's permits or whatever. So it's a permit that allows you to drive cars internationally. But I think mostly it's like when you're traveling and you don't need a driver's license in that particular country because you're going to be going home. I don't know, I have not traveled, but you don't need to do it. You can just come here with your driver's license as a South African. I'm not sure about other countries. I can only just share from my own experience as a South African. You can come here with a South African driver's license and it will be converted for you. I hope it is still that way. But yeah, you can get it converted for you and then you immediately then get your driver's license. You don't have to pay bribe. You don't have to buy cold drinky. You don't need to stand the whole day in the line waiting to be serviced. No, you go in there 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You are done. You go out with your driver's license. It is so nice. It is such a great experience. You know, I already had money for cold drink because you know how we do it back home. You know how we do it back home, but you don't pay any bribe, no cold drink, nothing, and you don't even have to spend the whole day at the what do you call it, licensing department. There's order. It's very nice, very peaceful. That's why I'm saying come here. The other thing you need to know about migrating to Australia, connections will not help you. There are no connections here. You know how we do it in South Africa. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. No. I'm not sure about other people. Maybe those who have money, they can buy certain things and certain favors. But for Tom, Dicks, and Harrys, just like us, there are no connections. Because again, connections help because you don't know anybody here. So if you're thinking that, I'm talking to Promise, or I've got a relocation agent that I'm working with, it's going to fast track my way into Australia, not going to happen. It is not going to happen. That's why I'm telling you, even if an agent tells you, I've got a MMRR number as an agent, they all do for all of them. There's no University of Migration, what agent, ne? All of them. The same connection that they have with the same connection you have, no connection. Nothing. No connection. Unless maybe you are somebody with money or a celebrity or something, maybe you might come here with connections. Otherwise, if you're just a normal human being, just like me, there are no connections, Shem. I'm so sorry. So you will just have to fill in that form, pay that money, prove whatever you need to prove, do that English test, Shem Wanis, and everything that you need to do to come here. Forget connections. It does, even with a job, it doesn't work like that. They don't do it here. So prepare yourself, in J. If you were thinking there's something connect-wise, not gonna happen. Forget it. Out of your brain, out of mind, out of sight. Start focusing on what? Whatever that you need to do. Okay? Thank you. The other thing, as I mentioned earlier on a bit, South African qualifications are highly regarded here. They're so accepted, and of which is something I feel very, 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 very fortunate to be in that kind of a position, because I look at some people who are unable to come here easily because they would then have to write board exams and they would then have to go an extra mile for them to prove that I can actually do the same job that South Africans can do. It is so sad, but it is what it is. I don't know what's the reason behind it. I really don't know. But yes, as a South African, good news for us is that our qualifications are accepted here. I think maybe because South Africa, Mandela, they like Mandela. I'm joking. But yes, they do regard our qualifications to be of that level. So we should just be happy about it. And for our fellow Africans who then are not in the same position as us, guys, just write whatever that you need to write. If they tell you you need to write this board exam or you need to do whatever, write it, do it, fight to get yourself into the position that you will then be able to work here. Some people might even have to, even if you do have like a qualification from whatever country, they might even tell you, okay, no, we don't take those qualifications. You need to come here and study for however many years before you can actually practice as whatever you're practicing as back home. So unfortunate, but there's always a way around everything. Whatever in which people have done, whatever Promise has done, whatever the next Nigerian has done, whatever the next Zimbabwean has done, the next Kenyan has done, the next whoever Mozambican has done for them to be in Australia. Because yes, there are Zimbabweans in Australia, there are Nigerians in Australia, there are Mozambicans in Australia, there are South Africans in Australia, hey, there are Chinese in Australia. Hey, whatever that they have done for them to come here, you do it. And you come here and you do the things that make the things to be done, and you get a job, and you halabasha life, you see. So do not be discouraged just because you are being told something else or you're being rejected. And I've said this even in my previous videos. Do not ever be discouraged, ever at all. If you're watching me because you want to come to Australia but you feel like you're stuck, guys, there is a will, there is a way. God will lead the way. God and your ancestors and whoever you talk to, however, whatever, whenever, will lead the way. If this is something that they've promised to you, it is going to happen, okay? So that's that. The other thing you need to know about Australia is that almost everybody here is an immigrant. Literally, if you look at the history of Australia, everyone here is not at home. Even if you were born here, it's like, yeah, fine, you were born here, but where are your people from? Because the only people who are from Australia are your native Australians, Aboriginal people, and Torres Strait Islander people. They are really the ones from here, original, 100%. Us, we are all immigrants. All of us. There is no one who will say, hey, me, I'm Australian. Or, yeah, fine, you're Australian on paper. What about where you are coming from? And it is so nice. Well, one thing that I like about it is that even when you talk to people and they're like, oh, me, I'm from Africa. It's like, oh, no, me, I'm from Italy. Me, I'm from wherever. Me, I'm from this. Me, I'm from that. And they'll even tell you, even though I've not been there, but my people are from there. And then we start to share stories about where we come from. It is such a beautiful environment. And I think because of that, and for me, in my head, I don't know how other people experience it. I feel like it unites us because then we have one story, about us not being then from here and having, a background in Yana that is different from everyone else, and then being open to learning about each other. So if you come to Australia, don't feel like I'm an immigrant, I'm the only one. If you see someone who looks like you, just sometimes, you are not from here. Some of them, their people and their ancestors have been here for years and years and years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But Oksala, you are an immigrant. All of us, we are all immigrants. So that is the one thing that I like about Australia. All of us are immigrants. There's no one who can come here and claim, hey, me, hey, hey, relax. We are all from somewhere. Even if your people did not tell you where you are coming from, you are not from here. So we are all immigrants. We've got the same problem. All of us, immigrants, our ancestors are from somewhere. So that's the nice thing about being here. You don't need to worry about I'm an immigrant, I'll be treated differently. Because I know in South Africa, we treat our fellow Africans so badly because of xenophobia. And we treat them so badly. I'm like, I don't understand. Because we are one. We were just being separated because of colonial things. Why don't you know that? But anyway, it is fine. It is what it is. Everyone here is an immigrant. So when you come in, you just join in. You're just like, oh, hello, everybody. Hello, people. Hello. And then it is fine. So you'll feel comfortable. It'll be easier for you, because everyone will just want to know where you're from and your story. And it's so much nicer when you share it and they get to also share their stories about where they're coming from. It's always nice meeting people and sharing stories about back home, especially if you're like a new immigrant, you're still fresh from home. With them, they'll be like, oh no, 500 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good thing Ancestry.com. Good, hallelujah. So lastly, number 15, guys, one thing that you should know about migrating to Australia is the place to be. Yes, fine, expenses are high and all of that, but the money is also high. There's money here. This is the place to be. I always say this in all my videos. So family friendly, so many things to do. The people are so nice and so kind. It is so lovely. Oh, it's got beautiful beaches. It's just so beautiful. Australia is the place to be. So if you were thinking about coming to Australia, do subscribe, guys, because I'm going to be giving you so much information about how you can do it and how to navigate visas and how to settle here and all of that. So do subscribe. Next week, I'm going to be talking about pros and cons of a TSS visa. I hope you're ready. So if you've got any questions about TSS, if you don't know what that means, I think it is temporary shortage skills visa. Yes, that's the one about where you have to be sponsored. I'll be going into it. So yes, that's the one job. That's the one visa where you have to have a job first. So if you have any questions about that, please put them on the comment section. Also, the other thing, you can also connect with me on my social media platforms and with your questions and all of that. And then we'll see how we navigate around them. So take care, guys. I will see you again next week.